Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear brothers, how are you? Hope you are doing well. Welcome back again. We have a new grammar lesson for today. This is in Unit 2. If you want to follow up with me, Unit 2 grammar lesson, which will be about the difference between the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous or progressive. Let me remind you of the form of these verbs. For the first one, for the present perfect simple, the form is using a have or has plus verb 3. Again, using a have or has plus verb 3. What about the present perfect progressive? Simply, this is have or has plus been or been plus verb plus ing. For example, if I said I have eaten my lunch, this is called the present perfect simple. If I said I have been eating my lunch, this is the present perfect continuous. But what about the difference between them? I mean, when can I use the present perfect simple and when can I use the present perfect progressive? Simply, I have to compare between two things here, between the action or the duration. So, if I talk about the action, if the action is important or more important than anything else in the sentence, that means I have to use the present perfect simple. What about the duration, the time taken? This is the present perfect progressive. We are going to have so many examples here to compare and note these differences. So let's get started. Again, we talk about the difference between the present perfect progressive and the present perfect simple. Let me start with these examples. The first one, a man has been reading a book for 2 hours. If I ask you now about the most important part in this sentence, simply it will be for 2 hours. I talk about the duration here. Okay? What about the form of this sentence? As you can see, this is has, this is been or been, and this is the verb plus ing, reading. Why has not have? Because simply I have Hana, which is she, yes, I think you remember that. I, they, you, we take have, but he, she, it take has. So I said here has been reading. What about this one? If I said she has read 30 pages, simply when you talk about the action, or sometimes we call it the achievement, whenever you want to mention any achievement, anything that you are proud of, I have to use the present perfect, which is has read. Later we will talk about the difference between the present perfect and the past simple. I have to say that because it's very important. I mean, when can I say I have done my homework and I did my homework? What about the difference between them? First of all, if I say I did my homework, I have to finish the sentence because using the past simple means that the time is more important than the action. So I have to say, for example, I did my homework yesterday. I did my homework an hour ago. What about if I said I have done my homework? In this case, I care about the action itself, which is doing the homework. So if I say I have done my homework, I don't need to mention the time. The time is not important here. Okay? This is only to remind you about the difference between the present perfect and the past simple. I'm sure that later we'll talk about that again. Anyway, so when we said here she has read 30 pages, that means I talk about the action itself. The action is more important than anything else. What is the action here? Has read. That's why I have to use the present perfect here. What about the second sentence? How long? And remember that you will find the how long in many sentences regarding the present perfect continuous. How long have you been reading that book? Again, I ask about duration, the time taken here. Here, how many pages have you read? Again, I ask about the achievement. How many pages? Number. So I don't care about the time taken, the duration. So for example, if you said I have read 30 pages, for example, I will not ask you how long did you take to read these pages. No, it's not important. The most important thing, as we said, in the present perfect simple is the action itself. Another example here. I said Saeed has been playing football since he was 10. It's clear now. What did I say? Has been playing. This is like another form of the present perfect with the same idea, the same mentality, which is duration. I don't care about the action itself, I care about duration. Okay? What about here? He has played for 3 different teams. Now, what do you think? Is it important to tell you about the names of these teams and how long did he spend playing in each team? No, not at all. I talk about the number of teams here. He has played for 3 teams. This is the most important thing. Okay? Let's move to the example because I wanted you to answer. Let's start with the first one. Let's move to this place. Yes? In the first example here, we said we have to choose between I have been looking for, I have looked for a job for 3 months and I still haven't been finding one. This one is very important because here we have in the same sentence we have to compare between the present perfect progressive and the present perfect simple. So in the first one, when he said here for 3 months, it's clear that I'm talking about duration, not the action itself. So here I care about duration, not the action. That's why I have to say I have been looking for. I have been looking for a job for 3 months. Again, the most important part here is duration, 3 months. What about here? We said that, if you remember, we talked about achievements. Maybe the achievement hasn't done or hasn't completed or hasn't been achieved yet. So I have to say here, I haven't found one. I haven't found one. What about number 2? My father has been working at many different jobs during his career. Well, I have a very important word here, during his career. That's why I'm talking about duration, not the action itself. So the answer would be has been working. We still have number 3 and number 4, which will be like homework for you. Please do it. We're gonna check that later, inshallah, in your homework, your online homework. Thank you very much for listening, and see you, inshallah, very soon. Thank you.